What is going on, everyone? First and foremost, I want to say thank you for being here right now, watching this video. I do really appreciate for your time, and I would really appreciate if you do consider subscribing, simply because it does truly help me out a lot. Now, we're going to be reacting to Mike Tyson says, I quote, Jake Paul disrespected me, and, continues to go off on Jake Paul after their press conference, man. Now, this is insane. Seems like, everybody's hyping the fight up, doing what they need to do. But this press conference, you can say, went pretty viral, and there was a clip going around of Mike Tyson saying some suspicious stuff, you get what I mean, about a younger version of Jake Paul when he was 16. I'm not gonna say what he exactly said, simply because it's out of pocket, man, but that's Mike Tyson, man. He said a lot of suspicious things, especially when he was in his prime. So it's not really a surprise. But at the end of the day, man, not gonna do too much yapping. Just gonna play the video, see what it's talking about. Then I'll share the rest of my opinion at the end of the video.
Listen, I started Jake off, and I'm gonna finish him.
Mike Tyson got furious at Jake Paul after their recent press conference, slamming Paul for disrespecting him at the event. Meanwhile, the head honcho of UFC, Dana White, has offered his perspective on the matter. White's focus? Determining whether Tyson versus Paul will manifest as an exhibition match or escalate into a genuine brawl. Surprisingly, White disclosed that even the commission was uncertain about the upcoming fight. The UFC CEO said, I don't think the Texas has really figured out what this is going to be, because it's happening in Texas, as Dallas, Texas Stadium, and the commission, I think, is still wavering on whether this is going to be a real fight, or I think Tyson wants it to be a real fight. I think the other side wants it to be an exhibition. Speculation surrounding the matter has surged since the announcement of the bout. Even Joe Rogan, on his podcast, expressed doubts that it would merely be an exhibition match, suggesting Tyson intended it to be a genuine addition to his fighting legacy. Meanwhile, Dana White confidently stated he had the inside scoop on why Tyson decided to step into the ring against the problem child. According to White, Tyson, despite his past glory as a champion, found himself swimming in a sea of wealth beyond the boxing arena. With the world still cheering for him, Tyson was constantly bombarded with irresistible offers he couldn't refuse thanks to his iconic status. White said, I mean, Tyson still has that aura. You can be at a restaurant and he walks in and you're like, holy f***, Mike Tyson's here. He still has that type of aura and energy in a room, and he makes lots of money outside of the ring. I think that he ends up getting these offers that he can't refuse. But the UFC president also thought Tyson was a man of his own. Therefore, he acted in accordance with his moral convictions. Teddy Atlas, renowned in the Boxing Hall of Fame and once mentor to the legendary Mike Tyson, also shared his insights on the much-anticipated fight. Teddy Atlas mentioned to Boxing King Media that Tyson is likely being paid a substantial amount of money. He suggested that the reality of the situation would only become clear in time.
What do I make of it? Let's see, let me think for a minute. You have to be a genius to figure this one. That he's getting paid a lot of money?
Do you give him any chance to beat Jake Paul? Because the way they're talking is a real fight.
Listen, we don't know what's real yet until we find out.
Atlas continued by expressing uncertainty about the fight's authenticity. He acknowledged that Jake Paul has put in a lot of effort to learn boxing and has been very strategic about it, adding that Paul is very smart and deserves credit for his approach.
I don't know if it's real. I know that Jake Paul has worked very hard to learn boxing and has been very smart about doing it. Very smart, you gotta give him credit.
Moreover, Atlas added that even at 58, or whatever age Tyson is now, the one thing that doesn't leave a fighter is their power. He emphasized his understanding of this fact by recalling how George Foreman, at 45 years old, defeated his fighter, highlighting that power is something that never disappears.
And I know that even at 58 or whatever Tyson is now, I know that he's one thing that doesn't go away from a fight. I know it better than anyone, because a very special man named George Foreman, at 45 years of age, beat my fighter, because the one thing that doesn't disappear is power.
Teddy Atlas further remarked that while reflexes and speed may diminish over time, power remains. He stated that Mike Tyson still possesses power, and his quickness and muscle memory are evident. Atlas also added that Tyson was one of the great heavyweights.
Reflexes, they go away. Speed, it disintegrates a little bit, it deteriorates a little bit, but power, no, it stays. Tyson still has power. You can see he's still got quickness, He's got those quick twitch muscles where, he's still got muscle memory from when he was one of the great heavyweights.
He added that if the fight is real, the first couple of rounds would be very dangerous for Jake Paul. Atlas then explained that in those early rounds, Tyson would likely come out aggressively, making Paul miss and creating openings. He emphasized that Tyson still has the power to inflict serious damage.
I would say this, if it's real, the first couple rounds are going to be very dangerous for Jake Paul. The first couple rounds with Tyson, the way that he would come out and do what he normally does, which is to make you miss and create an opening, he still has the power to do real serious damage.
On the other hand, Tyson Fury is firmly backing Mike Tyson to knock out Jake Paul. Fury believes that Paul won't be able to withstand Tyson's renowned striking strength, regardless of the size of the gloves. He expressed confidence in Tyson's power, asserting that if Mike Tyson hit anybody, it wouldn't matter if he were 90 years old, they would still be knocked out cold. He referred to Tyson as the baddest man on the planet, highlighting his unparalleled reputation in the boxing world. Despite Jake Paul's extensive experience and numerous fights, Fury made it clear that his support lies with Tyson for the knockout, noting that Tyson has always backed him in return. Fury added, "If Mike Tyson hits anybody, I don't care if he's 90, he's going to knock them out cold, isn't he? He's Iron Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. Jake Paul is very experienced now, and he's had a lot of fights, but obviously, I have to back Mike Tyson for the knockout as he always backs me." As Mike Tyson prepares for his first professional comeback in years, many within the boxing community have expressed concerns about his health. However, Fury has voiced his strong support for the fight, emphasizing that it will be a fantastic spectacle. He dismissed the worries as stemming from jealousy, pointing out that those who criticize the fight are likely fighters who are not receiving significant paychecks or attention. Fury stated that negative opinions typically come from those not making money or standing to gain anything from the event. He said, "Only jealous fighters who aren't getting paid and not getting laid, those are the fighters that are jealous. Negative people who are not making any money and are not set to gain anything from the fight." Fury also highlighted the economic benefits of the fight, noting that it has generated a substantial amount of money, particularly for Texas, where the fight will take place. The sale of numerous tickets indicates a significant influx of dollars into the local economy. Additionally, he pointed out that both Mike Tyson's and Jake Paul's teams are benefiting financially. In Fury's view, the fight is a positive development for all parties involved, contributing to the local economy and supporting the teams of both fighters. Fury added, "I think it's fantastic. I think it's created a lot of money. One for Texas, selling all of those tickets. That means it's a big influence of dollars being spent in the local area. All of Mike's team and Jake's team is being fed from it, and a lot of rent is being paid." In an exclusive interview with Bloody Elbow during the weigh-ins for Bellator Paris, the iconic Chael Sonnen, known for his razor-sharp trash-talking skills and as a formidable contender for world titles, confessed his belief that Jake Paul would emerge victorious. Sonnen, hailing from the era of Tyson's dominance, couldn't help but feel a twinge of sacrilege at his own prediction. He said, "I think that Jake is going to beat Mike Tyson, but that's blasphemy. I just said that I think Jake Paul is going to beat Mike Tyson. I've never said those words out loud, and that did not feel right. But he is a 2-1 favorite, I think, for a reason." Sonnen thinks Paul is someone who can motivate others in the fighting industry because he has presided over press conferences for Paul in the past. "I'm impressed with Jake, by the way," he added. Moreover, Sonnen believes that Jake Paul is a figure worthy of admiration and emulation rather than ridicule. He emphasized that Paul's methodical entry into the sport and his strategic choices deserve respect and study. Sonnen highlighted that Paul has taken on some significant challenges right from the start of his boxing career. He mentioned that Paul has faced great athletes, including Nate Robinson, a former NBA player known for his athleticism, and Ben Askren, a serious competitor with a strong background in wrestling. Sonnen pointed out that Paul's opponents were not just selected for their fame, but also for their athletic prowess. He also noted Paul's victories over Tyron Woodley, a former UFC welterweight champion. Sonnen described Woodley as an incredibly tough opponent, comparing the experience of touching Woodley to touching an oak tree due to his solid build. Paul managed to defeat Woodley not just once, but twice, showcasing his ability to overcome formidable adversaries. Sonnen added, "Right off the bat, he's already taking on some great athletes. Even the slam dunk guy Nate Robinson is a great athlete. Ben Askren was a serious competitor. Tyron Woodley was a world champion. He's awesome. Have you ever touched Tyron Woodley? It's like touching an oak tree and he got over on him twice." Sonnen concluded by reiterating his belief that Paul's approach to his boxing career should be studied and copied. He sees Paul as someone who has figured out the intricacies of the sport and has demonstrated the capability to handle significant pressure and competition. Tyson. In Sonen's view, Paul's strategic and well-thought-out progression in boxing sets a valuable example for others to follow. Demetrius Johnson is worried about Mike Tyson in this situation. The experienced fighter's tendency to keep throwing forward blows is the reason he voiced this worry. When boxing, Jake Paul is defensive and strategic, meaning he will wait for the ideal opportunity to attack while Mike advances. Mike Tyson's trick in this battle is that he might need to change up his boxing technique because his reflexes from his prime are long gone. He will undoubtedly be cut if he just advances without waiting for Jake Paul to come back. This is exactly what Mighty Mouse is concerned about, as he said. That's going to be the hardest thing for Mike, is to not get caught with something when he's trying to get to Jake Paul. Right, because we know Mike Tyson is going to go forward, and Jake Paul does have that uppercut that he hit Homeboy with, that he can probably hit Tyson with as well, because Tyson does duck his head to get into the void and get across it. These concerns take on a completely different significance when considering the risk of permanent brain damage that someone of Mike Tyson's age faces from repeated punches to the face. Being punched in your 20s versus your late 50s isn't comparable. Father Time catches up with us all. Those expressing apprehension about Mike Tyson have valid reasons. We're just about 2 months away from the highly anticipated live event, where the outcome will inevitably alter the trajectory of both fighters. In a recent press conference, Jake Paul made a bold promise to his fans, asserting that on July 20th, he would knock out Mike Tyson. He confidently claimed that Tyson would feel his power and that he, Paul, would be remembered as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time. He said, "What I promised to the people is on July 20th, Mike will be put to sleep and he will feel my power, and I will go down as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time." Mike Tyson, however, was quick to dismiss Paul's bravado. Tyson argued that Paul lacked the knockout power to defeat him, referencing Paul's inability to knock out Nate Diaz, who is significantly lighter than Tyson. Tyson pointed out that Paul couldn't even knock out Anderson Silva and struggled to defeat Tommy Fury. Tyson questioned Paul's track record, noting that Paul has only managed to knock out less formidable opponents, implying that Paul has never faced a truly tough opponent like himself. Tyson countered, "He's not going to win. He can't even knock out Nate Diaz, who is like 40 pounds. How's he going to knock me out? Who's the other guy? Anderson Silva. He didn't knock out Tommy Fury. He didn't knock those little guys out. How's he going to knock me out? Who did he knock out? Little children. He never knocked out a real man." The fighters also addressed rumors that the fight might be fixed. Jake Paul vehemently denied these allegations, warning skeptics to maintain their doubts until he proves them wrong by knocking out Tyson. He also highlighted the serious legal implications of fixing a fight, calling such an act a federal crime. Paul was adamant that the fight would be legitimate and that he was determined to defeat Tyson. "I hope y'all keep that same energy when I knock this old man the f*** out. Clearly they don't have a high IQ in here, but that's a federal crime," said Paul, while Tyson simply said, "I started Jake off and I'm gonna finish him." Tyson, unfazed by Paul's remarks, confidently stated that he would not lose to Paul. He reminded everyone that he had supported Paul at the start of his boxing journey and that he intended to be the one to bring it to an end. As would be expected at an event to build the event, the fighters took turns taunting one another, with a nod towards the 1990 bout that Tyson engaged in with Buster Douglas, with the influencer nodding to the 1990 fight Tyson had with Buster Douglas 7 years before Paul was born, saying, "Hey, Buster Douglas was fat. Am I right? I know, but you know Buster Douglas. I'm better. I'm going to end you quicker than he did, and you'll remember that forever. You started me off. I appreciate that. Mike, I love you. I love you like a father loves his son, but I must discipline you. You're going down, man." Some are fearful for Tyson going into the fight. Others think he will blitz Paul, but asked whether there was a chance the event could legitimize Paul as a fighter, he answered, "They say he's the baddest man on the planet, so let's find out. Apparently he's the final boss. I love the biggest challenges in the world. That's what's made my whole entire career, is taking big risks, and I want the toughest guy out there. I want the biggest fights, and making history is what I've done my whole entire career." When asked about the fight against Jake Paul, Tyson remarked that it was good while it lasted for Jake, and he called Jake fat. In response, Paul confidently assured Tyson that he would be seeing plenty of pictures of it.
You're going to have a lot of pictures of it, Mike.
I don't see it.
When Tyson was asked if he thought Jake Paul could ever win a boxing world championship, he acknowledged Paul's improvement, but confidently stated that despite his progress, Paul was not going to beat him. Tyson added nonchalantly that he was born for this and that it was nothing new to him.
Someday. Hey, let me just be honest, he's improved a lot. Yes, he did improve a lot, but he's not going to have a good night when he fights me on July 20th.
What did his ribs feel like when he touched them on Monday during the face-off?
They felt pretty hard.
Make up your mind, were they hard or am I fat?
Well, you're fat, but you had hard muscles, okay? But outside your muscles, you're fat.
Lay off the weed.
I was born to do this, but this is nothing new to me. This is new to this young boy over here.
When questioned about his age and whether he was too old to fight, Mike Tyson dismissively replied, "Who is saying that?" He claimed that he had never heard anyone saying something like this. The reporter chose not to respond, leaving Tyson's challenge hanging in the air. Moreover, the fighters displayed their preparation and resolve unmistakably as the meeting drew to a close. When asked which round he intended to finish Jake Paul, Tyson declared confidently that he would end it in the first round with the first punch.
Taking place in the first place at all because of your differences, particularly your age.
Well, I don't see too many people critical about it. Look at this. Ha 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 ha.
Critics, I mean.
Excuse me?
Critics, you know, people in the
Who?
industry.
Tell me who. Name us somebody.
Folks.
You? Who?
No, folks who say it. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks. He get hit. The first punch.
Do you think I could get a signature?
Excuse me?
Do you think I could get your signature?
Yeah, you can get that.
During the same press conference, Mike Tyson startled a reporter when a journalist tried to confront him about what he saw as apparent contradictions between words and actions. This led to Jake Paul adeptly sidestepping the inquiry, inadvertently provoking a fiery response from Tyson. The reporter questioned when Jake Paul would actually fight a contender in his weight class instead of doing gimmick fights. Paul responded, suggesting that the reporter had just called Mike Tyson a gimmick. The reporter tried to clarify his words, expressing respect for Mike Tyson and acknowledging his age. He mentioned that Tyson is 58 years old or will be at the time of the fight. Tyson didn't take it well, repeatedly asking the reporter what he had just called him. The reporter denied calling Tyson anything, his voice showing panic. Tyson's intimidating glare swiftly diffused the tension, setting the stage for their upcoming match, where such confrontations are likely to re-emerge before they face off in the ring.
And you want to be a contender and be a title holder. So then when in your career are you going to actually fight a contender in your weight class and not do gimmick fights?
I think he just called Mike Tyson a gimmick.
Mike Tyson's 58 years old, or will be at the time of the fight. Yes.
So
as
will
much
you
as I
fight him?
respect Mike Tyson
Will you
and
fight him?
his...
What did you just call me again?
I didn't call you anything.
What did you call me?
I didn't call you anything.
It's been 4 years in this sport, and I've done more to it than any boxer in the history of the sport. So in due time, sir, I will be fighting for a world championship, and I will be shutting you the fuck up and making you eat your own words, just like the rest of these fucking punks.
On the other hand, UFC trainer Tim Welch argues that spectators are dumb for counting out legendary Mike Tyson ahead of his fight with Jake Paul. Analyzing the upcoming boxing bout on his YouTube platform, Welch contended that overlooking Mike Tyson's potential to astonish the world would be nothing short of foolishness, despite Tyson's age of 57 and his hiatus from fighting since 2020. Welch stated, "Do I think that Mike Tyson has a chance? Absolutely. It's Mike Tyson. He's the true freak of nature and the rule set favors him. Notably, the battle will take place over 8 two-minute rounds, using 14-ounce gloves and no headgear. The winner's professional records will be affected." Welch further described Tyson as an incredibly intimidating individual, one of the scariest people one could ever encounter. He acknowledged that Tyson might not be as ferocious as he once was, but emphasized that he is still Mike Tyson, implying that underestimating him would be foolish. Welch added, "Mike Tyson is a scary human being, one of the scariest human beings that you'll ever see. I don't think he's going to be the same ferocious dog that he used to be, obviously, but it is still Mike Tyson. To say he doesn't have a chance, you gotta be dumb, but the chances are not that high just because of the age." Welch expressed that Tyson will be most lethal in the first few rounds of the fight, but he worries about how soon Tyson's knockout power will fade. He explained, "I think early on he's going to be scary. He's going to come out there and be able to throw some power, but I bet you he can't train that hard, especially if he's not able to use that special sauce." Moreover, Welch noted that Tyson had mentioned at the press conference how sore he was and expressed a wish that he was joking about it. In contrast, Welch pointed out that Jake Paul was in the prime of his life. Welch added that even at 57 years old, Tyson's testosterone cannot be that high, especially given the lifestyle he has had. He's got to be beat down. He mentioned that Tyson spoke at the press conference about how sore he is and expressed a wish that he was joking. Welch contrasted this with Jake Paul, noting that Paul is in the prime of his life. Moreover, Welch believes that neither fighter fighter will win by highlight reel knockout, even though Jake Paul still holds the physical advantages in this fight. Welch speculated that Jake probably aimed to add some size, particularly around his neck, to better withstand Mike Tyson's power. He said, "Rumor is Jake Paul's walking around at 230. He's a big kid. He's probably wanted to put on a little bit of size on his neck so he can take Mike Tyson's power. I know all the old school guys are going to be like, are you kidding me? Mike Tyson's going to kill Jake Paul. But it's like, dude, we're creeping up on 60 years old." However, Welch believes that the social media celebrity will prevail on points in the end because he doesn't think Jake Paul can defeat the great boxing champion. Welch stated that he believed Jake Paul would be able to stay composed, use his reach, and maintain enough speed and endurance to win by decision. He doubted that Jake would knock Tyson out. Welch said, "I think Jake Paul's going to stay tight enough and be long enough and be quick enough and be able to pace himself to get the job done by decision. I don't think Jake's going to knock him out. His head's too big, his neck's too big. I mean, I don't want to say never, but I think Jake Paul is going to win a decision." Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.
But yeah, man, that is the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comment section, and subscribe for more content, man. But this crazy, man. A lot of information in one video, but at the end of the day, man, Mike Tyson got mad after, he realized that that guy basically called him a gimmick. You get what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, people have their own opinions, and you gotta respect that, man. There's people saying, there's people counting out, Mike Tyson simply because of his age. You get what I mean? Like, the guy is gonna be 58 years old by the time he fights Jake Paul, right? So he's definitely not in his prime. If anything, he's getting really old. You get what I mean? So yeah, man. They're saying, they're basically saying Mike Tyson doesn't stand a chance. If you get what I mean, he does not stand a single chance against Jake Paul. And there's also people who, don't even care about the age. They think, Mike Tyson is still a beast. Age doesn't matter. He's still a beast. He can still go in there and absolutely, put some damage onto Jake Paul. You get what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, everybody has their own opinions on this fight. But at the end of the day, man, that's that guy's fault. You get what I mean? He tried to press Jake Paul for the whole situation, right? When that wasn't the smartest move. You get what I mean? You should have just kept your opinion to yourself. If you get what I mean, you're not gonna press them like that and expect them not to respond, right? So can't really blame Jake Paul or Mike Tyson to get angry like that. But at the end of the day, man, don't have too much to say on this whole situation. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys down in the comment section. So let me know what you guys think. And without further ado, subscribe for more content if you did make it to the end of the video. And peace out.